In this video, we're sharing the two different methods that we use here at our family workshop to keep our wood carving chisels and gouges sharp. So let's start off by looking at the equipment that we have. Our main system for keeping our tools sharp is the Tormek. Fantastic system, well put together. The only real drawback with it is the cost involved. And that is why we are presenting an alternative, because not everyone is going to want to spend the money on buying a Tormek. The other methods that we're going to share are oil stones and slipstones. As you can see, we've got a few different types. We have a little slipstone and then we have two different oil stones. The reason we have two different oil stones is we have one to do our curved gouges and another to do our planing irons and our straight chisels. The reason you need different stones is that over time a curved gouge will put a groove in your oil stone, which means when you go to sharpen something straight and flat, it will sharpen on the outside edges, but not across the full width of the tool itself. It's basically that it puts a hollow in the stone. Whilst you can redress the stone, our preferred approach is to have two separate stones. So let's look then at the specific method that we use. Let's start off with the oil stones and the slipstones. What we do, we put a little bit of a thin oil, in this case we're using 3-in-1 oil, onto the stone itself. We then find the sharpening angle, the cutting angle of the gouge. The way we know this is we raise the heel of the tool until we can see a little bit of oil running over the tip of the tool. We then rock the gouge itself back and forth, right the way around the stone and across the entire width of the tool itself. What we are looking to do is to build up a light burr on the inside of our gouge. The reason for this is that the tools that we are working with are all external angle gouges. That means you sharpen them on the outside edge, you build a little burr on the inside edge of the tool itself, remove the burr and then polish the metal. It's important to note when we have finished sharpening on the outside edge of the gouge, when we remove that burr, you need to keep the stone nice and flat and then just run it along the inside edge to take the burr off. So that's the first method. It's an economical method to keep your tools sharp. It's a simple method and ideal for beginners. Our main system then of sharpening, as we mentioned, is the Tormek. This is a more expensive system, but it does produce superior results. Similar with the process that we've explained when working with oil stones and slipstones, you start off by sharpening on the whetstone itself. You find that angle, the cutting angle, and you'll see the water just going over the edge, and you rock the gouge from side to side, from the one end to the other end, until you get a light burr on the inside of the tool. You then go over to the leather style strop on the other side, put some honing paste on the wheel and remove the burr from the insides. You'll see that the machine has got a few other attachments as well. So using this synthetic leather style strop and the honing wheels, you can polish the metal on the tool itself. This is a good method for maintaining your tools. Whilst it is expensive initially, our own thoughts is it is well worth investing in this if you are doing a lot of wood carving. The reason for this, you can sharpen your tools to a high standard and remove less of the metal. Our preference is to work with vintage chisels and gouges. And so with the Tormek, you are removing less metal to get a good finish and a sharp tool. This is preferable because it means that our vintage gouges will last for longer and we'll be able to work with them for more time. And when it comes to vintage gouges, you've always got to remember they're not making the tools like that any longer. So the longer we can preserve them, the better it is. So for ourselves, the Tormek, it is worth the investment. You'll notice that we do our sharpening freehand. When it comes to the Tormek, you can also buy a number of accessories that can be used to set the cutting angle for you. Ourselves, we prefer to set our own angle freehand. But again, that is personal preference. So let's just recap the methods that we use to do our sharpening. You start off by finding that sharpening cutting angle. You can do this on the oil stone by seeing where that oil just goes onto the inside edge of the tool itself. Similarly, on the Tormek, you'll just see where the water goes over the inside edge. You rock the gouge from side to side, using as much of the stone as possible. You can check the inside of the blade, and once you have a light burr on the inside, you have managed to sharpen the tool itself. You remove the burr either by using the edge of the stone, if working with an oil stone or slipstone, on the Tormek using that synthetic leather style strop with the honing paste. You then either use a leather strop, a piece of material, or the honing wheels on the Tormek to polish the metal and bring it up to a good finish. We then do a pilot cut on a offcut of wood just to check that you are happy with the finish that you have achieved, and away you go. You've now sharpened your wood carving chisels and gouges. Hopefully that's useful. If we've missed anything out, feel free to put a comment in the comments section and we'll do our best to answer any of your questions. If that video's useful and you like what you see, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you know when we upload another video. And as we always say, thank you again for watching.